stage and hopefully be applauded. I'm sure he will be. Please welcome Bill Aberman.
Thank you very much. I put this bottle down here. It's amazing how they bottle vodka now, right? I'm Bill Aberman. I'm 85, and my body is still in great shape, and you know, my memory is still in great shape. I'm 85. I think I just said that, right? I'll tell you about a guy that took a trip down to Africa, and it was amazing. He left the big city and he goes into the jungle, and he couldn't believe it. He's walking along and it's so dark and thousands of trees around, and there's all sorts of junk and all over, and he passes muck and mire. Hi, muck. Hi, mire. And then he comes across, you can't believe this, it's an amazing, big, beautiful building that says, Home for the Elderly for Jewish People. So he decides to go in and see what's going on. And he walks in and he sees a little old lady sitting there like this. Oh, and he felt so bad, and he comes up to her and he introduces himself and he says, you know, everything okay, and what's your name and so on? Tell me about this. She looks up and says, everything here is so much sugar. Everybody's so crazy. See that lady there? She's standing on the stairs and she don't know if she's going up or she's coming down. But me, I'm so good. I'm so wonderful. Everything is fine. Knock wood. Knock, knock, knock. Just a minute. Somebody's knocking at the door. So he leaves the place and he goes along and, he comes to a hospital. And he decides to go in and see what's going on. He goes into a room and he sees a guy laying in bed there and his wife standing next to him. And the guy is dying, and he listens to him, and the man says, dear, I know I'm dying, but it's time that I confess to you. You know, I was not faithful to you. I cheated on you. I slept with your sister. I slept with your best friend. And I even slept with your mother. And his wife is standing by the bed and said, yes, I know all of that. Now just relax and let the poison work. So he keeps going on, and he decides he's going to go into the city. So it's a very, very busy, busy city there in Africa. And he looks around and he says, I better take a cab. So he hails a taxi and gets in the taxi, and as he gets in, some woman also comes in. But amazingly enough, she has no clothes on. She's completely nude. Well, the driver's sitting there and he looks back at her and looks at her, and the lady says, you stop staring at me. And the guy said, I'm not staring at you. Oh, yes, you are. You're staring at me. Why are you doing this? Well, I'm kind of wondering where you're keeping the money you're going to have to pay me. So he gets out of the cab and he decides to rent a car. And he goes and he's renting the car and he's driving around, and the traffic is just crazy. he's just driving, he can't find a parking place. And he's getting so frustrated. Finally he said, "Oh Lord, please do me a favor, find me a spot to park. And believe me, if you do, I'll go to church every Sunday. I'll stop being unfaithful to my wife, and I won't drink anymore." All of a sudden, miraculously, a spot opens up, and he pulls in, and he looks up. "Lord, never mind, I found one." Well, there's this Chinese couple by the name of Wong. They've been married a long time, but he knows that his wife has not been faithful. She's been cheating on him for years. But they get together and they have a little baby. They're in the hospital and the nurse brings out the baby. And the baby is white. So the nurse says, "Well, what are you going to name the baby?" And Wong looks around and he looks at his wife and he says, "I know two things. One, two Wongs don't make a white." So I'm gonna name him Some King Wong. Then there's this couple that had kind of memory problems. They couldn't remember things, so they went to a memory class. And it was kind of a class that they teach by association. You know, you think of something, and you think of something else, and you match them up together by association. And after the class, they come home, and she's out in the garden, and he's standing in the front, and a neighbor comes up. Says, "Oh, hi, I understand you just had this memory class?" The guy said, "Yes, I did." He says, "Oh, that's great. What was the name of your instructor?" Let me ask you, do you know the name of that flower? It's red and it's just beautiful and smells great. And her friend said, "Oh, you mean Rose?" "Yeah, Rose. Hey, Rose, what was the name of that?"